And we will begin by asking Mr. Chuck Brannon if he would to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We're certainly very happy to have everyone with us this evening, all that are in attendance. It's been a little while since we've had the opportunity to see your smiling faces. And it is always a delight to be with you all, especially you all that are here that do the work every day that make this great institution do the incredible things on behalf of our students that it does. It's good to see you all again and our visitors. And so pardon the commercial interruption by way of visitors. I do want to welcome my family tonight. My son and daughter-in-law flew in to visit with us for a few days. So I brought them over this evening with my wife to share a meal with me after our meeting in Lake City at Pisano's. That's right. So there's a commercial plug for Pisano's. It really wasn't about my family. I've got stock in Pisano's. I'm so thankful to have them here. Okay. The first item of business under Roman numeral 3 is the statutorily appointed time for board reorganization. And after consideration, I'm going to ask the board if you all are pleased with the present positions as they are held by the individuals that hold them. Are you all pleased with that?
Absolutely.
Could we have a motion to reappoint those persons to the sundry positions that they hold?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
I second it.
Dr. Tepedino makes the motion, Mrs. McGinnis seconds the motion, that we will appoint the individuals as they were last year in the various positions, that is David Crawford, chairperson, Renee Allen, vice chair, Suzanne Norris, board legislative representative, and Catherine McGinnis, the board foundation representative. Are there any questions or discussion on the item? If there are none, all in favor of the motion as presented, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. The motion's carried. And I know that all of us will do our very best to serve you all in this college. Thank you for your confidence. The second item is the board calendar for the next year. And that is the second Thursday at 5 p.m. in each month. The dates are for the second Thursday in each month at 5 p.m. Is the board pleased with that calendar?
Yes.
Can we have a motion then if the board, there's no other concerns or questions?
I so move to accept the proposed calendar.
I second it.
Thank you. Mrs. Allen moves to accept the calendar second Thursday in each month at 5 p.m. and makes the motion seconded by Mrs. McGinnis. Any questions? If there are none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. The motion is carried. Thank you so much. Now for the audience of any citizen, the Florida Gateway College Board of Trustees will hear any citizen who wishes to address the board on a one-time basis pertaining to a relevant topic. If the board wishes to hear more about that topic, we'll schedule it for a future board meeting. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. The time dedicated to this topic will not exceed 20 minutes. And I think we have Mrs. Barbara Limley.
Correct.
Said it correct. Who would like to address the board. Mrs. Limley, you have the attention of the board.
Good evening, trustees. I have only one question. What is the plan for Florida Gateway College downtown campus on the property owned by Lakeshore Hospital Authority? I've attended the authority meetings for the past several years and heard the presentation by Dr. Barrett. He presented a couple of weeks ago. Does the trustees plan to further discuss having a downtown campus at, a future date?
We're going to discuss that matter under the president's remarks, and we'll hold our comments until
Okay,
then.
thank you.
Certainly. Thank you for being here, Ms. Lindley, and we appreciate your interest in the business of this board and the future of this community. There are no others. Then we will move on to item Roman numeral 5, and that is the approval of the board minutes from June 16th. You've had the minutes in front of you and had the opportunity to peruse them. Are there any changes, corrections, or amendments that the board sees fit to put forward? If there are none, we'll entertain a motion for the minutes to be approved as we have read them. Can I receive a motion?
I make a motion.
I'll second her motion.
Thank you. Mrs. McGinnis makes a motion, seconded by Dr. Tepedino, that the minutes will be approved as we have read them and received them. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
If there's any opposed, same sign, and the motion is carried. Thank you, Katie, for your work on those. We don't stop and do that enough. Thank you so much. You do a great job. Okay, our SG representative is not able to be here tonight, but we will not lack information. Mr. Cardenas will take up the torch whenever he speaks to us and share with us on those matters, which brings us to the presentation of the consent agenda.
And I have spoken a few minutes ago with the chair. I'd like to recommend that item on the presentation of consent items, number C9. Recommendation of staff is to move that item to the action item under business services and under VP Holloway's report. And that's in regards to computer information systems. It's a pretty large contract.
The Aleutian Company.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Under routine contracts and agreements, that is on page 3 in our packet. Under routine contracts and agreements, page 3, that's the Aleutian Company contract that we will consider as a separate item. If the board would, it's an $875,000 item, so we're going to, if we could have a motion to pull that from the consent agenda and consider it separately at the end of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. Mr. Lander moves. We have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Brandon gives our second. All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion's carried. Now, you have the consent agenda. We've had the opportunity to go through these items. A lot of work and effort put into this consent agenda. And I appreciate it so much, our staff. That's what I get from it when I read it each time, is the amount of effort and work that you all plow into it. Thank you so much. Everything was pretty straightforward to me. Is there any other matters, everyone? Any questions about any item on the consent agenda? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I so moved.
You hear the motion by Mrs. Allen to approve the consent agenda. We have a second.
I'll second.
Ms. McGinnis will second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay. And we're going to have the Aleutian item. That's going to be shared with us under business services. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so Ms. Holloway will take care of that for us. Now we come to Roman numeral 8, academic affairs. Dr. Gavin.
Dr. Pease is in her place today.
Dr. Pease. Glad to have you, Dr. Pease.
So good evening. Dr. Gavin asked me to speak on her behalf. She's actually with her family this evening. Her stepson is home on military leave briefly. He just finished basic training, just had graduation last week, so
Great.
they're having an evening out, so I'm really happy for them.
A Marine?
Yes, that's correct.
Simplify.
So just wanted to let you know some things that are going on in academic affairs. Our math science faculty have moved into their new offices in the STEM building, and they are, I've talked to all of them, and they're very happy with the accommodations and very excited to be teaching in the next couple of weeks once classes started. Also from our math department, we took a look at summer math success rates because we wanted to see if there was an impact from our promotion of having a free math class, a free in-person math class. And we found that our overall success rate summer to summer went up by 2.4%, which amounted to an extra 145 students who earned a passing grade with the enrollment increases. When we looked at our general education math, those are the maths that actually count towards an associate's degree, the increase was 9%. So we're very happy with the increases, and we attribute that to the greater in-person instruction that we had this summer compared to past summers.
Wonderful.
Just a couple of other successes that I want to point out. Our cosmetology graduates had a 100% pass rate on the state boards. We also had a 100% pass rate on our state certification for our fire program. And our last paramedic class had a 100% first-time pass rate, and they all have jobs in the field.
Wow.
Also from our CTE, I want to point out 2 donations. The Morgan Auto Group donated a 2001 Mazda Protege to our automotive program. And the Baker County Sheriff's Office has agreed to donate 2 vehicles, a 2014 Ford Taurus and a 2015 Chevy Impala to our law enforcement program. So we're very thankful for the community's support with those vehicles. Our EMS program had their site visit this week, and there was no deficiencies found. And the state representative specifically cited the support of the college administration as contributing towards the success of the programs. So it's really good to hear that. And then finally, I want to talk about, or just mention, our Nclex pass rates, give you an update on that. So these statistics I'll give you are based on the data from the end of the second quarter, which would be through the end of June 30th, and would include our December graduates who attempted the exam. For our PN program, 100% success rate for those who have attempted the exam, and that compares to the Florida average of 62% and the national average of 78%. Our RN program, as of June 30th, the success rate was 73.47%, which compares to Florida's average of 60.73% and the national average of 80.37%.
I'm sorry, what program is that?
That's the RN program.
All right, thank you.
Yes. So we're definitely ahead on the Florida average, and we've made some gains on the national average. And then we have some up-to-date pass rates for the RN program as of Monday. And for those who have attempted the Nclex exam, the success rate is up to 79.68%. So we're closing in on that national rate.
Great. What was the national rate again?
The national rate was, as of June 30th, was 80.37%.
Thank you.
All right. That's all I have. I gave you a lot of numbers.
You did, and they were all good.
Any questions?
Very good.
Thank you.
All good. That was a great report, positive report. Of course, we're always willing to, look at the brown grass as well as the green grass, but that was a lot of green grass. Really very exciting.
Thank you. Okay.
Are there any other comments from any of the board members? Any questions on that report?
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Roman numeral 9, Student Affairs and Public Information, Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with the Student Government Report. The Student Government E-Board got together for their first meeting on July 18th to plan for the new school year. The new members of the E-Board are Taria Lyles from Bell, Micaiah Johnston from Columbia, Amari Murphy from Columbia, Kayla Desmartin from Bradford, and Tavon Taylor from Fort White. Their next meeting will be on the 16th and 17th of August, where they will do all their prep work for Welcome Back Week. Student government has numerous activities planned for the first week of school to help new and returning students get acclimated or reacclimated to college life. These activities include encouraging students to sign up for the new Navigate app, lunch in the hall, pictures with Bolt, our mascot, and we will have a caricature artist on campus. We'll be signing students up for our first field trip of the year to Itchatucknee Springs. Excuse me. SGA will host our annual student employee picnic and club rush in the second week of school. And that is the conclusion of the student government report.
Great.
Student affairs and public information. At this time, I'd like to make an introduction of our new athletic director, Mr. Chris Hackett. Chris, would you please stand? Chris comes to FGC from Frank Phillips College, an NJCAA school in Borger, Texas. There he has served as the athletic director since 2020 and the head men's basketball coach since 2011. He holds the title of winningest coach in school history with 159 wins. His focus on student-athlete development produced 27 all-conference players, 2 all-region players, and 3 academic All-Americans. Of his players at Frank Phillips, 58 went on to play for 4-year institutions, including 2018 NBA draft pick Alize Johnson. I told Chris I would embarrass him a little bit, but that resume, I think, speaks for itself. He's a welcome addition to our campus, has done a wonderful job with our athletic program already.
Wonderful. Glad to have you.
That's the sports center version. You didn't talk about the losses and the. I'm really glad to be here. It's been a kind of a whirlwind month, but enjoying it. And I think we got some good plans in place for athletics tomorrow.
Good.
Thank you, Chris. Each year, the NJCAA recognizes student athletes from across the country who achieve excellence in the classroom in addition to their efforts in their chosen sport. 9 Florida Gateway College student athletes have been named to the 2021-22 NJCAA Academic All-American team this year. FGC volleyball players Kylie Berry and Aliyah Montgomery were named to the All-Academic First Team, and with achieving a GPA of 4.0 for the 21-22 academic year. Kayla Desmartin and Kyla Desmartin, Taria Ellis, and Mackenzie Myers were named to the second team. Eric Canavan, Nicholas Cross, and Brianna Tucker were named to the third team. The fall season has begun. Women's cross country is here on campus. They just spent the last 4 days in northern Georgia running the hills and training. They're excited to be back on campus. Their first meet is September 3rd at Valdosta State. Academic Advising Office has had a very, very busy July. They've handled close to 1,300 student phone calls, emails, walk-ins, and appointments throughout the entire month. This whole week, that office has been full and will probably continue to be full all the way through the first week of classes. They're definitely getting our students registered and enrolled. Residence Hall move-in dates will be the 19th and 20th of this month. We are expecting 41 students in our residence hall for this upcoming fall semester, which is right about where we were last year at this time. We might see a couple more come in if we've got the room. So hopefully we have the room. Quick TRIO update. TRIO is in the process of closing out its year on August 31st. Final numbers are still coming in, but we're anticipating meeting all of our objectives. I'll have more at our next board meeting. They are currently accepting new students and have 30 open spots to fill. And finally, a quick GED update. I am very happy to announce that our GED at Dixie program had our first completer and first GED recipient this July, after only 6 months in existence. Our Dixie Center open house was held on August 8th, and we have 5 new students that have registered for that program. So it continues to grow. They're doing excellent work down in Dixie.
Good.
Are there any questions?
I did have one observation. When you said that the young ladies had been in North Florida training in the mountains and the hills, and they were very glad to be back, I thought you were going to say on flat land.
Yes.
Flat ground.
Yes, the northern Georgia hills are they're not to mess around with.
But that's wonderful to
Yes.
know that they were able to have that experience up there. Great. Good job. Thank you so much. Next, Roman numeral 10, enrollment and marketing, and that'd be Ms. Schrader.
Good evening. I'll start with a quick enrollment update. For summer 2022, we ended with a 3% 3% increase in headcount compared to last summer. And then for fall classes begin August 22nd, so registration is still ongoing. And based on the current numbers and the groups that we know are going to register still, we anticipate a 2 to 3% increase this fall over last fall. So that's good news that we're rebounding. We're offering a $300 book voucher to all standard students this fall, and that voucher was made available to them actually today in the bookstore. They could purchase books and supplies with that voucher along with their financial aid book slips. We offered 60 Board of Trustees scholarship this year to incoming high school graduates, as you know, and I'm happy to report that 53 of those students have enrolled in fall. So that scholarship program is going really well. See all of them enrolling. We've been busy with recent events. We had our second Fall One Stop on July 21st. We had 134 students attend that event. And then a third Fall One Stop on August 4th, and we had 60 students attend that event. So we had a total of 3 One Stops for fall. We held our first ever summer graduation on August 9th. That was this past Tuesday evening. So previously, students who finish in the summer, they had the option to walk in May or December. And most chose not to do that because it wasn't timely with their degree completion. So we were excited to offer this opportunity. We had 80 students sign up, and I think 77 ended up coming. And along with their guests, they each had 8 guest tickets, so the Howard Center was packed on Tuesday evening, and that's something we're going to continue in the future. College night will be held on August 23rd from 5:30 to 7 in the Howard Center. We have colleges across the state of Florida and the U.S. that are signed up to send representatives to talk to high school students, as well as our current FGC students about transfer opportunities to go to their schools. And we'll also have FGC programs and departments in attendance that night. And then a 75th anniversary update. Hopefully you all received the 75th anniversary celebration magazine in the mail. We worked with Mac Media Services to produce this. They did a great job. If you didn't get it, I have extra. But the issue highlights the STEM building. It's a timeline of FGC through the decades. So our history, as well as our programs of study, athletic programs, a lot of good stuff in the magazine. So our next event for the 75th series of events is actually tomorrow morning with the Patricia Gardner-Collins Memorial Golf Tournament at the Lake City Country Club. There are 24-person teams signed up to participate, and tee-off is at 9 a.m. Every hole in the tournament is a par 3. Did I say that right? Yeah. I always want to say 3 par. There will be prizes for the first place team, prizes for the last place team, 4 closest to the hole prizes. And there's a hole-in-one contest courtesy of the Wheeler Agency that will take place on hole 17. And that's for a $15,000 life insurance policy, Lee? $15,000 life insurance?
No, it's $15,000.
Is it really?
Hole-in-one.
Oh, I got that wrong. I got that totally wrong. I'm glad I verified.
That covers it.
Gotcha,
But yes,
gotcha, okay.
not a life insurance.
See, Lee helps me. So he's been instrumental in this golf tournament because I do not know golf. He translates everything, so thank you for that. Okay, another upcoming event for the 75th series is FGC's Fun in the Park in downtown Lake City. That's going to be on Saturday, October 15th from 9 a.m. to noon. And the purpose of the event is really to bring FGC to the community and to give back to a community that has supported us for 75 years. We're very proud of our history, all of our students and everything, but we want to remember to thank our community. So the event will kick off with a fun run. We're hoping to secure a train ride for kids. We're going to have snow cones, a food vendor, and also our programs, our occupational programs, and our departments are going to participate, and they're going to think of creative ways to bring their programs to the community by sharing like technology they have, so community members can experience it or do an interactive display or a game of some sort. So that's what Fun in the Park is. That's all I have.
Great.
I'd just like to say graduation was very nice.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you. Oh, my props.
to do that.
Yes. And each golfer will get a 75th hat and a golf towel with the logo on it. Just wanted to show that.
Thank you. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions or comments from the board? Great job. Thank you
you.
so much. Okay, Roman numeral 11, Business Services Report, Ms. Holloway.
Good evening. I would like to go ahead and start by discussing the Elution contract that we pulled from the consent agenda. Item number 9, the college requests approval of the renewal agreement for the Elution Company LP to provide software support for the college's baseline software, including maintenance, improvements, and new releases. This amount, the $851,773, is over a 5-year period. The reason we chose to go with a 5-year term so we could lock in the rates, and over the 5 years, it saves us $51,585 by signing the 5-year agreement, locking in the rates.
I think it's smart.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or discussions about this? And I want to thank the college and the staff and the information they shared with me prior to our meeting tonight. You're always so helpful on any phone calls, which you were spared that one, Ms. Holloway. I'm normally calling her. If we don't have any questions or comments, then we'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. McGinnis. Do we have a second?
Second.
You hear the motion in second. All in favor of that? If there's no discussion, all in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. The motion is carried. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Then my next item is budget amendment number 1 for the capital outlay plan for the unexpended Plant Fund 7. We are requesting approval of Fund 7, Budget Amendment 1, which has been revised so the report reflects actual revenue, revised budgeted expenditures, actual expenses, and updated projects through July 20th, 2022.
We have the information associated with that in front of us. Are there any questions or discussion by the board? If not, we'd like to entertain a motion for approval of the request.
So moved.
Mr. Lander makes the motion. We have a
Second.
Ms. Allen makes a second. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor of that, members of the board, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. The item passes.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next on our agenda, I believe, back over, is our President's Report. Am I correct? Yes. Roman numeral 12, President's Report. Dr. Barrett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to reiterate what everybody said. Thank you for those of you who could attend graduation 2 nights ago. It's been a busy week. It's a very busy time for all of us. And I want to thank, it was a great night for those students that had never experienced that immediately upon graduating this summer. And I also want to thank, I think, our alumnus of the year that came from that small campus in Gainesville. He enjoyed himself, Chuck. You think he did? Chuck Clemens, so he enjoyed himself a great deal. And first time back on campus in a long time, and I think he graduated in 1977. 76?
76.
76. And he brought his little book of the college, so it was really a nice thing to do. So thank you very much. I also want to, seems like it's been ages ago, but I want to... All right, I'm moving to my financial report. I'd like to... I got 2 weeks.
Report.
It seems like it's been a long time ago. That's a first, Marlon. 25 years.
You should have told me to turn that off.
It's been, it seems like a long time since we had the opening of the STEM building back in late June, right before the 4th of July. It was a great day, a great ceremony, and we're so excited about, and so many people have commented about the building and how it looks, and the community is very excited about there now. We just got to make sure we produce for our students that. So I can't thank you all enough for being part of that. And then my next topic kind of relates to what Ms. Lemley had asked earlier. over the past few months, if you remember back in the April board meeting, we talked about two items. Was the charter school with potentially in the region, and the other was the Lakeshore Hospital Authority building, which I had called the blue sky thought. There was a lot of issues. I want to thank Mr. Pinchok, and a lot of other people on campus that helped us with the proposal for that. And we looked at the proposal, and remember the proposal was just a basic proposal before moving back to you. And we offered our suggestions. We actually had a couple of partners that were willing to go into the 110,000 square foot building. And we offered that our requirements were going to be that the building needed to be donated to us, that we needed money for the renovations of the building with approximately $12 million, and then the third part of it is if we received those two parts, we would pursue actively the state legislature or the federal government to give us operating dollars for that building. The Lakeshore Hospital Authority decided not to accept our proposal before I even brought it to you. They decided to move in a different direction. My understanding right now is they're negotiating potentially with potentially a veterans situation, but at one of the meetings, they're talking about demolishing the building for about $3 or $4 million. So at that meeting, their executive director, Dale Williams, made a suggestion, and this gets to Ms. Lemley's comment, that they would probably most likely just donate some tracts of land to the college for a downtown campus. He's never really had any long-term discussions with me about that, and the board has not, the Lakeshore Hospital Authority Board has not, and so as they continue to discuss it, a couple of nights ago, they had another meeting, they mentioned it again. I've had no discussions with them regarding a downtown campus or the property. What was so ideal about that property for the campus, in my mind, in the blue sky, I'll just share with you, was that we could help that area and we would establish a community where economic development would be built there. The unknowns of that, I most likely would say to you, we shouldn't turn down any donated property, or the foundation shouldn't, because they have to be the receiver of that property. But at this point in time, I have no association with that. So I just wanted to make sure that you understood that. The second part of that was the charter school situation. Superintendent Carswell and I have had 2 or 3 meetings to discuss that. There seems to be some interest in the Columbia County School Districts to try to form a charter school with us. So we are going to have a few further meetings. I believe it's in about 2 weeks, him and I, and then we're going to establish some teams to talk about potentially what that would look like from the campus to see a collaborative. Way early yet, as you can, and if any of you read the papers, a few of the schools that received money, colleges that received money for charter schools, they were saying they were going to open this year after only 4 or 5 months, and they've already delayed their plans. If we ever go into that, if I ever recommend that to you and we move forward, we're going to have a plan on how to do that and how it would impact the students positively in the community and how it would impact the public schools in our area if we ever went down that path. But it's a different discussion than we had 6 months ago with Columbia County regarding that. So just wanted to let you know that. Wellness, some positive issues. Well, let me tell you one more bad thing. Health insurance. I came to you a couple of meetings. You've heard this for probably, this is my 8th year as I start this year. I think you've heard it for 6 years, that we continue to be, have significant issues with our healthcare consortium. And we continue to investigate, and we've looked at brokers for that situation to go on ourselves. It's not looking that well, but I will just tell you, I've done an analysis of the last 6 years, 48% of our budget, a 48% increase in those 6 years in health insurance. And that the new rate for this year will take about, of any of the new monies we got from the state of Florida, 18% of that increase will be eaten up by this new increase. So we're doing a lot of research. They're not liking us, the consortium, but we're their client, and they're going to have to. And And I refuse to have them come before this board, my board or the college's board, and say we're sick and old. And that's why we pay so much. I mean, so,
Can I ask a question? Is that the group we had here one time? And that's been about how many years? 6?
that was the reason, we had them here 4 years ago when they hit us with a 15%
So they've
increase.
gone up.
And now they're hitting us this year with 11%,
So it's all total about 4, 5, 6 years they've gone up.
48%.
So apparently having them here didn't do much good.
So the college is paying close to $9,000 an employee, or that we pay 100%, but the families for dependent coverage for people in this audience, if they want our insurance, will pay close to $1,000 per child. While the state of Florida.
Per what?
Per child. $1,000 a month per child, per dependent, excuse me, but I say child too, but it can be a spouse. And while the state of Florida is what, $175 a month for family coverage?
Yeah, what do we have to do to work towards that?
We're trying our darndest, I'll tell you. I'm fighting a very hard battle I don't have a lot of hope. Cassie's been with me for the last month on this. It's frustrating, and I can't get a lot of traction from my colleagues, and I don't understand why.
Is it a situation, I might ask another question, where everybody has to leave or a college could leave on their own?
We can leave on our own, and this is only my impression, that in just like a big monopolies, like big companies and so forth, it doesn't behoove the small brokers it doesn't behoove the companies to try to give us any break when they have a consortium already there. So when we reach out to some of our colleagues, it's almost like a monopoly on the situation. And it's a difficult process to do. To answer your question, the frustration with the consortium is when it comes to property insurance, if we were able to go on our own and do workman's comp and our own property insurance, we would save this institution about $200,000 a year. Now, why can't I do that? Is because the consortium for the college system says if you break your property insurance, you can't have your health insurance. And we share when there's hurricanes, and we all know we're blessed to be in Lake City and Baker County, and we have much lower rates than our colleagues in Florida Keys and in the Gulf, Pensacola, and those. And we, over those losses over the last 4 or 5 years, have been 50, 60 million for those campuses, and we're paying that in our property casualty. When it comes to health insurance, for some reason, and no one can give me the answer, maybe Dr. T, you can, but I thought consortiums, we were sharing in sickness and the costs of situations. Well, they don't operate, our consortium doesn't operate that way. So we're getting hit with the largest increase again of the 26 colleges that are part of it, and most of the colleges are getting 4 or 5%. And our coverage is going down. The $40 copayment that we all pay is going up to $65, and our deductibles are going up $1,000 to $1,500. And we pay people well. We don't pay people great, but we pay people well. But we can't keep our talent because of our health insurance.
So I'll give you a couple answers, but I also have some questions. I'm going to go Chuck style. What does it take to get health insurance through the state of Florida? Like, who do we have to create some sort of pathway to get to that? Because I feel like ultimately separating those two out, like the consortium has done us no favors. I won't be like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I think that their presentation 4 years ago was lackluster, and I think that the entire concept of what we have done is carry weight when really we're being told we're sicker, we're older, we're not as healthy. And I'm looking at our audience, and I think we look at everybody else, and we have some great staff who try to take the best care of themselves. But so I think the solutions, we have to split it up. I think we have to figure out a way to bend the ear of whoever it is in the state level to say, we know, having come from the University of Florida system, what those rates are significantly better, and they're under the coverage through the state of Florida. I also think that as a physician, on a side note, I have not seen a pay increase at all. If anything, I've seen a continual pay reduction despite COVID, despite all those other things on reimbursement. So it's definitely not on the physician end that all of a sudden we're making more, we're actually making less. And when you go to them, they say, oh, it's because our costs are so much higher, and then you kind of drive through Jacksonville and I get a different impression, but it's a different discussion.
I can answer that question, but go ahead.
So I feel like at the end of the day, our best interest is not served by this group. That's 5 years, 6 years running consecutive. And I do agree that nationally, this is a problem with all insurances, though, where all insurance rates go up. At our office level and other places, we're on average, every year after year, it averages out somewhere between 8 to 12% every year. 1 year it was 20%, 1 year it was 8%, but it averages out, where we continually go up nationwide. I do think with the consortium, the other component of it is, if you look back in 2008 and you look at the Affordable Care Act and some of these other things that you couldn't say you had pre-existing conditions, well, a consortium uses a different set of rules. They're more like an insurance broker. An insurance broker says, well, how healthy is your staff? How old is your staff? What's the expectation? And so that's how they'll break it down. Now, we are not privy to that algorithm because we've asked for it, and we've yet to see it. And so, like, to me, the lack of transparency is the part that I'm like, is there something about it? We don't have more smokers on average. We don't have, so whatever algorithm they're using, to me, I feel like if you're a part of a team and your team has your back, they should be able to display that. So, like, I think full on, we should separate out as quickly as possible. And, you know, we've tried year after year after year. That's my opinion.
Well, so you know, we're the last college we refused to sign for next year. And there's some risk to that because we've been trying so badly. And what we get back from the consortium is we need to know your answer to what we're doing. And we keep on saying no, and now they're saying if we don't do it soon, there may be a lapse in insurance because of our lack of action. So I've been real hard, as many of you know, I'm a pretty hard negotiator at the back end. But I will tell you, and I thank many of the people here and Sharon, that we were able to move the state of Florida last year to an APAGA report to determine if we could, the state colleges, be, and a few of the small colleges did it, was able to get the legislature to look at this report, and APAGA looks at it, and they said the cost of doing business for all 28 colleges would be about $300 million a year. Now, if you look at that, that sounds like a lot of money. What bothers me is the data that was gathered came from our consortium. And I'm not saying they did anything wrong, but when the consortium wants to stay in business. So, I mean, I hate to say that, but the thing is, so this year the intent will be to try to lobby the legislature to try to get us on the state plan. I think it's going to be very difficult because I can't get my colleagues to move in that direction.
I don't think you're going to have people who are benefiting from your money, your monies, that are going to agree, because probably about 2/3 think they're getting a great deal,
Yep.
1/3 don't. And since we're the very last of the line, of course, we're going to be the loudest, most
Exactly.
vocal voice. So I think trying to wait for them.
No, I know, so that's why I just,
So I think, unfortunately, you don't want to play a game of chicken with their coverage, because if something were to happen to them, you know, we have an obligation to people that work for us. But I also feel like, at the end of the day, you have to make the best decision for this college. And I support you for fighting that battle for everybody in this audience, and whatever we can do as a board. I mean, I know I speak for myself, but we want to do.
What prevents us from, if it's okay?
Yeah, go
What
ahead.
prevents us from individually approaching the state system?
absolutely nothing. I mean, one of the thought processes is you don't want to, one of the things that the staff is very upset about this, and I get very emotional about it because it hurts us so very much deal, because we are a family. And the thing is so as we talk about this, we're going to try to do our best to, I don't want to use our staff to do that, but the staff wants this done. And so we're going to try collectively as a group of 200 of us to move this forward. But once again, it's going to be a very, like you said, Miguel, there's a lot of people that just don't care about this from the other colleges. And so it's going to be a fight that we're going to need our legislator.
But
I mean-
can I ask this, but they're paying the same thing, they're people,
Yep.
why would they not care? I mean, their employees are being put into the same.
I asked that
situation,
question
right?
many times because they just don't think they just think the answer to it is they can continue to get their state funding when they get, some schools got 15 million that were our size last year, and we got $600,000, and they think they can answer that easily by operating. And I think one of the best things we do, 2.3 million a year we pay in health. Our entire budget from the state is 14, our entire budget is 22 million. So if we could change that move, or even settle that 2.3 and keep it steady, we could do so much for our students and so much for our staff.
Yeah, I think it has to do with percentages, Chuck, where if one school is getting a hike, but they think it's less than the national average, they think they're coming out ahead. Whereas we look at it in the national average of every year, what it costs more and more for insurance, we're getting the short end of the stick. And so I think you're right. Like, I mean, so the facade is, well, but we're doing better with them than we are with somebody else. And that may be the case, at least optics-wise, for 2/3 that are in the consortium. But, they've got 8 or 9 schools straggling along at the end that, we're not. And I understand, like, I think it's pretty maddening to think that our coverage for hurricanes and all this other stuff is tied into the fact that we could get a better rate because of where we are geographically. That has tied into the fact that you can't separate it out. And I think the whole thing seems to me like I don't like playing games, not with people's health insurance, and I feel like we're just kind of being toyed with.
We are not paying the same health premiums as everyone else, is that correct?
No, we are not.
Our increases certainly aren't. So it's not a level playing field. Is there a path forward for us going directly as an institution by ourselves to go into the state system?
I don't think it would be a path for us individually. It will have to be
All the others, we can't go by ourselves.
because of the way the statute reads.
Okay,
So, I mean,
it's unfortunate.
So I'm willing, I'm willing to, this is a longer term discussion, but it's a long, like you've heard it for 8 years.
That brings up something else, man, and I'm looking at this calendar too. Of course, I don't know what type of deadline you're up against, but this summer it kind of struck me that maybe this board probably ought to have a fall workshop, that maybe we ought not wait till next May. And I know, and this is my own fault, I always miss the June workshop because it always falls on the same day when I have to be at a convention, yeah. So maybe, and not just that issue, but maybe some, I wish Suzanne was here and Dr. Cerncy. And this has been on here a long time. And today is my 20th anniversary. It was my first meeting 20 years ago. Which
Congratulations.
might be a good or a bad thing. But we used to probably, once every year or two, have, what am I trying to call it, a visionary workshop with the board. Because, on these workshops, we get here at 4, and I feel like we're a little rushed because we're saying, we got to get out of here by 5 and get over here. But maybe have a little, if we could work it out, the time for everybody, have a little longer workshop.
Okay.
I'm saying, if we got here at 4 in the afternoon and didn't have to worry about having a meeting that day. We knew that we could have a workshop and be here for a couple of 3 hours if we need to be. Of course, Catherine, if you ever go to any of these conventions, I've only been to 1 or 2, and Dr. Cerncy's been to a lot, and you have. A lot of boards have retreats for the whole weekend and go away, and I'm not advocating something like that. But maybe an afternoon and an early evening to be able to get a little deeper into things and not feel rushed and not have to wait until May for us to kind of weigh some things and some options. It may not work out for this year, but long term. And I'm talking about y'all Dr. Berry, y'all come up with some other topics too, whether it be long term things when you talk about like athletics or building construction or whatever. And just kind of roll it into that. But that's just an idea, and we don't have to do it. But I was thinking about that over the summer.
That is a great idea, I concur.
All right, I'll look for dates and we'll try to.
Yeah, it would probably have to be October and November.
That's what I was looking.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's move to some positives, and then I'll be done real quick. Ms. Schrader mentioned about 75th activities. One of the activities is that Mr. Sean McMahon and Mr. Mike McKee had worked on the history of the college. That book is ready to go. It will probably go online. We're just trying to figure out what it looks like. And it's a nice history of the college, about 75 pages of the college. And it has some anecdotal stuff in there that's kind of cool. All clean stuff, but it's kind of funny, some of it, and some of it's very unique. So from Dr. Phillips all the way, from 1947 all the way up. So I just wanted to let you know that. A couple other events are going on. We'll have a gala in May, 75th anniversary gala you'll all be invited to. And the Globetrotters will be making its return visit to Lake City in April, third week of April. One last thing I will leave you on is extraordinary work, and this may be something, Chuck, maybe something we want to get in more depth. We are finishing up our 5-year strategic plan. We have the data for the 5-year strategic plan. The next step of that end of this 5-year strategic plan is the departments over the next few months will analyze the strategic plan and really do an in-depth analysis. Did it work? Did it not work? And then we'll bring all those things to you. We were going to bring that in January. I don't think we'll get it done by November. But it's important to just not have a strategic plan and say, yeah, we did it, and let's move on to the next strategic plan. So we are doing that. And one of the things that's in that strategic plan, I think I'll just end with this, is we're so excited as an institution when we were named an Aspen 150 award winner. And we were so disappointed as a staff not to be in the top 25. And we looked at some things, and thanks to the academic staff and the institutional research and the assessment people, I said, I want to know why we didn't come in the top 25. I think we should have been in the top 10. And so what they did was do an in-depth analysis of the Aspen data. It's not our data that's been manipulated, and there's pages and pages of it, but I just thought you should see the 3 quick charts, and that's why I went to get my glasses, because I couldn't be able to see if I went up there. And then that will be the way I end my, and hopefully this works, and we haven't talked too long. Let's just see. He told me to do AV. Let's see. There, oh my God. So, let me see if I go back. I'd rather go back to. All right, this is the first one I want to show you. So, Aspen reviews 1,600 colleges across the nation when they do their data. When they do their data analysis, they go into the IPEDS report and they look at this. And this is the data of our first-year retention based on Aspen data. And as you can see, we're at 62% compared to the highest of any of those institutions. And these institutions, when I talk Broward, I wasn't going to list them, but it's all public information, so I might as well just put it out there. So Broward College, Seminole State College, South Florida College, State College, and Tallahassee Community College were all in the top 25. And Broward College is now in the top 10, and they were a runner-up 2 years ago. And so we by far, but it's a bunch of data that they compile. But this is, I just wanted to show you the 3 overall slides, and that's why when I said we deserve to be in the top 25, I believe I know what the reason is why we're not in the top 25. 3-year graduation rates. Compared to those, oh, let me go back. That last one, and I was trying to look for the highlighter on this, if I have a pointer on this, but I guess I don't. The last column that says the community college averages, that's those 1,400 to 1,600 colleges across the nation, their average. So that's in the last column for every one of those slides that we show. 3-year graduation rate. That means first-time, full-time students that come here that graduate in 3 years. Now, there's also a slide I'm not showing you today. It shows 2 years, but that's 3 years. So 58%. And then 3-year graduation rates, which we have done so much better in the last few years for people of color. 49%. So I'm not going to bother you with the hundreds of other slides. The faculty and staff get that on opening day on Monday. But they have a lot to be proud of when you look at that data. And it's so important when we look at that. Now, you're probably wondering what I said to you. Why? Is percentage-wise, when we look at our 5 counties, our percent of underrepresented students is only about 26%. When you look at some of these other, and you get extra points and heavily pointed to that. So when you take a look at South Florida State College, which I compare ourselves every day to because they're exactly the same size, they have 44% of that. So they get extra points. So regardless of this, I just want to say they've done an amazing thing, our faculty and staff, over those last 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, President Barrett. Are there any questions or comments on the President's report? If not, we're going to look to Roman numeral 13, topics for future meetings.
Oh, wait. Oh, well, the biggest thing here, I forgot. Action item.
Yes.
Not the action item.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You're the
No,
boss. Am I
no,
gonna get
no,
fired?
No, if you said you were done, you were done. Go ahead.
I asked some people to be here, so. I want to, once again, we thank Marlon for his service at the last meeting. We have reviewed, we did a RFP for legal services, which we didn't need to do, but we decided to do that. And we've selected a person and a firm to represent us. And Marlon has reviewed the contract, and I just want to, before I ask you to take action on that, I just want to turn it over to Marlon for a few minutes and thank you once again. He was up until today still working with me on this, saying you're doing this wrong and so forth. So Marlon.
Well, I've said back at our June meeting to the board, thank you for all you've allowed me to do to be the board attorney for more than 20 years. But enough about me. You have selected or about to select a very wonderful attorney, a smart attorney, a hard-working attorney. I've known Megan since I was the county attorney for Columbia County many years ago, and she was representing the county on various matters. And she works hard. Super lawyer recognized. I believe she's authorized to practice in Florida and Georgia, graduated from law school with high honors and all of those things. So I don't think you could find a better attorney. She works with people, and I just have nothing but good to say about her. And I'm glad to know that somebody like Megan is going to fill this position, because I know it'll be taken care of. We're glad to have you, Megan.
Logan. So we need to, I don't know if you want to just read that, or you could just approve it. So I don't know how you want to do it.
Okay, we have a request from the President that we approve Megan Logan as the Board of Trustees attorney for Florida Gateway College. What is the length of our contract?
1 year.
For 1 year contract. Is there any discussion about that recommendation from the President?
With our current counsel on the way out, if he says it, I believe it.
Amen.
And I am grateful for you to fill the heavy role that we rely heavily on him, and we're thankful for you to be taking over that role. So I'm going to take your word for it.
You won't go wrong.
And I've worked with Megan in my school board capacity and her school board capacity for many years. And I've said this a bunch of times over the years, that this type of law is a specialty. Like if someone came to me and said, hey, I'd like to do a bankruptcy. You're a lawyer, you could do my bankruptcy. I would have nowhere to start. I would have absolutely no way I'd do it. School law is a specialty, and we need someone like we've had with Mr. Fiegel and like we're getting with Megan, who does this and knows how to do it, and I know she does, and she's done it for many years, and she's very active in the Florida School Board Attorneys Association, and I think we're in good hands. So I was happy to hear that you were taking over the reins.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's two strong recommendations from two outstanding attorneys and a strong amen from a doctor.
So I'll make a motion then.
Good. We have a motion?
And I'll second it.
To approve. We have a motion second to approve Megan Logan as the Board of Trustees attorney for Florida Gateway College. All in favor of that, members of this board, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. There are none. The motion passes, and welcome.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything that you would like to share this evening?
No, I don't think so. Just that I've had the pleasure of working with Marlon, and I appreciate all the kind words and look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, now the president is through. Okay. So topics, if there are
Mr.
any.
Chairman?
Yes.
Would it be inappropriate, is this Marlon's last meeting?
Yes.
Would it be inappropriate if I say something about Marlon, I'm not prepared, but sometimes I can speak off the cuff.
Depends on what he wants to say.
Yeah, depends on what I want to say. And it's kind of ironic, I guess, Marlon, that I said earlier that August of 2002 is when I came on the board. If I'm not mistaken, Catherine, who was our other? It was Terry McDavid. Maybe was he before you, Marlon? Is that
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, I only had a meeting or two with him when you came aboard, but you have done an excellent job, and I consider you a friend, not only a board attorney, but a friend. That's just the kind of guy you are. And of course, me being from McClenny, you being from Lake City, I don't guess we were ever acquainted until that time. But how me and Marlon really got acquainted was kind of, and I'll tell a short, funny story about us, is that, and I blame Suzanne for this, and she's not here, but Suzanne was chairman of the board the year before I became chairman. And we had a lawsuit where an employee was suing the college. And I forgot how this crazy thing worked, but the employee had the option of having his hearing before a judge, a real judge, or the board chairman. Well, I guess Suzanne wanted to play judge, and the guy wanted it before the board chairman. She said, well, I'll do it. Well, you know how the legal system works. Things kind of drug around. And Suzanne expired, and I became the chairman. So I inherited this crazy process and this hearing. And I guess we had 2 or 3 hearings. And Marlon got where he would call me Judge Brandon. That's what he called me. And of course, I had no qualifications whatsoever. Of course, I'm not an attorney at all. But what a good process. And he guided me through that. He was there. He sat next to me, and he really, I guess, was the judge in the process. But we survived that deal with Marlon.
Administrative hearing.
We were able to handle that. And I didn't decide to go get a black robe after that. I just finished out my year. But thank you, Marlon. You are a good friend and an excellent supporter of the college. We know that. Besides working in this position, you, and of course, we recognized you a couple of years ago as at the foundation banquet there. So you're important to this college and a true friend, and we hope you don't go away.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate
You and
you, sir.
all the board have been wonderful to work with. And the do you good here will live on.
Sure. Okay, well, and the rest of the board, of course, had the opportunity at our last meeting to.
Well, I missed that.
Sure.
I'm a day late and a dollar short again.
So I don't want anyone in the audience to think that the rest of us don't appreciate Mr. Freeman. We appreciated him up until June, and then it was over.
It's that darn FFA convention messes me up on that June.
Yeah, that's an important place to be. That's important.
But Terry was an excellent attorney, and he recommended Marlon, and that worked out so well. So I know Marlon's recommendation will carry over to you just as good. Look forward to it.
But we do want to reiterate everything that was said in June. We appreciate you. Outstanding, outstanding. Okay, of course, we can expect the warrant register, any Board of Trustee member that desires to do that. Those are available for your purview. We have the time for our next meeting is set. We passed out, I think that's September the 8th, if I'm correct. September the 8th.
Yeah, and that's really early in September. So.
It is, that's right. Be careful. September the 8th, 5 p.m. Back here. If there is nothing else, then we'll entertain a motion to dismiss.
I make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. McGinnis. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Let me know. Aye. Thank you. You are adjourned. Best to you, young.